things I wish I knew when I was graduating from high school. 18-year-old version of me, actually 17, I was turning 18. But the things I wish I could tell myself, going backwards, to learn from, to guide myself into the future are some of the things that I'm thinking about today. Why am I thinking about it? Number one, for the last several years, I've spoken to high school kids many times in a year, whether it's clients' children, friends' children, coaching, you name it. But ultimately, I'm going in a couple of weeks to do a presentation to some high school seniors, and it got me thinking, what are the things I wish I knew? I've also been speaking to them for a couple of years, and the truth is, there's a couple of themes that seem to come up every year. And you could see it on their faces, the thing that really resonates with them as you hit some of the deeper subject matter. But man, we are not who we used to be. And for most of us, we're really, really glad. But looking back, what stuff you would tell yourself? What stuff you'd love to tell your kids if they would listen? What are the things that stand out? I really came up with a couple of things that to me are huge. Here's number one. You aren't defined by who you are right now. Who you are right now is a small representation of who you're gonna be in your life. These 4 years do not define you. If you were the most popular, you may not be the most popular in life. If you didn't have a lot of friends, you may have more friends than you can ever know. The reality is, what you love doesn't have to be what you love later. Who you are right now is a very, very small part of who you're gonna be. And you gotta know that. You have to know that it's a start, it's not the end. So it feels like an end, it's just an end of a chapter. But the chapter is an introduction. It's an introduction to your life. And when you have an introduction to your life, you have to realize that that part of the book is the beginning, the start, the small spark to get everything else moving. And here's the truth. I wish more kids knew that. I wish more kids thought this way, where they said, I'm really not great at school. Well, you don't know if you're great at school because you don't even know if you've taken some of the things that would interest you enough yet. You know, I remember being in high school and feeling like I didn't like school. I was looking at the military and I was looking at all these different things, and I was an honor roll student, but I didn't feel like it came easy. The point is, if you asked me if I was a good student or I liked school, I would have told you no. Not one bit. I love the social aspect. I love playing soccer. I love lots of parts of school. I didn't love school. When I got to college, I loved school. I loved learning. I loved reading about things I enjoyed. I could actually specialize in areas that intrigued me. I made straight A's at certain points in my college career. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not a straight A student. Why was I thinking that I wasn't anything that I had never tried before? These are things we all go through, and these are just a couple of ideas, but the truth is, we have to know that when we start, when we're beginning, it's just a small representation of who we're gonna be. And thank God I am not who I was then. The growth of relationships, the ability to treat people better, learning about yourself. I mean, these are all things we have to go through, and high school is just the beginning. So that's the first thing. What's the second thing? Where you are from, where you come from, your family unit, whatever it is, just because it's where you come from doesn't mean it's where you have to be. Now, this works in a lot of different directions. If you come from a highly, highly successful family, you don't have to be your dad or mom and be a high power attorney or an entrepreneur that sets the world on fire. You could be whatever you want to be. If you come from a trailer park or a shack or a life that didn't have a lot, guess what? You can change. You can break that pattern. You can get out of that life. You don't have to struggle because everybody in your life up to this point has struggled. See, your family's life, your family dynamic, your role in your family does not and will not define you in your life if you don't let it. But I always look back and think, oh, I kind of thought in this way where I could do this or I could do that. And I thought very, very small. I needed to think bigger. I needed to learn more things. I needed to get out of the family unit. And I had a great family. I had an absolute wonderful family unit. I had a wonderful family unit that was extended. I look back and I'm so grateful for that, but not everybody has that. And the beautiful thing is I had so many people around me saying these very things. Now, were we always listening? Absolutely not. Do you listen to everybody around you, even when your family sees something bigger in you? Sometimes they know you can get out of the situation you're in. Sometimes they want you to be something different. The founding fathers were quoted as saying, "We are soldiers, so our children can be teachers, so their children can be artists." Each generation wanting something better in their eyes for their children's generation. And that's honorable. But maybe you don't want to be an artist or a teacher. Maybe you want to be a soldier. See, the key is you could be whatever you want to be. And I think understanding that, coming from that family unit, you can redefine your path. And I think understanding that when you're growing up is really powerful. I think it's powerful for me to remember looking back, and it's powerful for me to share to the next generation. I want our children to know these things. I want to remind myself sometimes that I didn't know these things, and I wasn't always listening to the adults around me that I should have. See, who you surround yourself with can be very powerful. Sometimes it can also pull you back. And the key component is when you're dealing with family or structure or how you grew up, don't let that define you. Define your own path. That is extremely important to me. Number 3, be patient. You are where you're supposed to be. So maybe you aren't doing the best at school. Maybe in order to go to college, you have to grind your way in. Maybe you didn't get into the school you expected. Maybe you don't want to go to college and you want to go to work right away. Guess what? They're making a ton of money in trades right now because there aren't enough people doing it. Think outside the box, but really understand wherever you are right now is where you're supposed to be. That's the right spot. If you took a year off and you're struggling and you don't know why, well, you're supposed to be there. You're supposed to figure it out. And now go to work. Figure it out. This is the time to look at where you are right now and grow from it. And understand that the path is a patient path. It usually will open up in the right ways for you. Now, look, you have to make decisions that put you in a good spot. You have to make decisions that allow you to be patient. The best decisions are ones where you choose good things. You choose good friends. You choose a good path forward. What I'm saying is if you just make small decisions that you are equipped to make right now, it's amazing how those decisions will start to amplify into the right decision for your future. Being patient is something I wish I told myself over and over and over again and actually listened to. Because I can still remember being 21 years old, wearing a suit, working for the Attorney General's office, getting a call midday and walking to lunch in the freezing cold in downtown Richmond, and my buddies laughing hysterically about the night they had had before. And me feeling like, oh man, should I have graduated early? I felt like I had to. I felt like time was not on my side and I had to earn, I had to get out there and do it now, and doing it early was going to be better. And guess what? It worked out for me. But there were plenty of times I wish I could have just taken a breath. I could have just been patient. I could have just been where my feet were. Sometimes just being where your feet are is some of the best strategy for your future that you can ever believe in. Because where you are, there's a surrounding of great resources normally. And we miss them when we're speeding through life. And when you're young, you can't wait to be an adult. I wanted to be an adult from the time I was like 7. I wanted to be at the adult table. I wanted to sit with the adults. I wanted to go to the parties where the adults were and learn from them. I wanted to sit around and just take it all in because I was ready to be grown. I was an old soul. Always have been, always will be. But when you can be that old soul and know that patience is a virtue and a gift, use it in your youth. Life will work its way out. Learn from its experiences. Know that you are where you're supposed to be. That where you come from doesn't define where you're going, and that really who you were in high school is not who you're gonna be. It's just a fraction, it's a start. So if you watch this video all the way through, and you're sitting here right now, I want you to think, what's one thing that stands out to you that you would tell yourself at 17, 18 years old? What would you tell those kids? What's a message I should take with me to share with the next generation as they approach this chapter of their life? The chapter that awaits them, we all know, is so much bigger than they even know.